Hi YouTube. I thought I would get on here and do a quick video from the parking lot at my job. Hopefully the lighting's okay. Sorry that there's sun blaring on this side of my face. This is the best angle I could get in the car. I didn't want it to look funny pulling out of a spot only to park into another one. I'm weird and awkward when it comes to filming. I just thought I'd get on here because I've had a particularly rough day. It's actually been a rough couple of weeks. I love my job, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's really difficult to deal with 20-somethings and training them. I know I'm not much older than they are. I'm 32, and these kids are probably anywhere from 22 to 25, and it's just funny how the maturity level is just not there and how different it is compared to where I'm at in life. And I'm really hard on myself, and when I train, I take it seriously, probably more seriously than I should, and I want to do a good job. I really care about the success of these salespeople, and I want them to, have a good experience when they work here, and I want them to be able to make sales, and, I'm very hard on myself, and when I have a bad day, or I feel like class just didn't go well, or the content was not what it should have been, and I didn't understand it well enough to train them successfully, I feel really bad. And it doesn't help when you have these cocky attitudes that some of these people have for their age group, and I feel like God tests my patience on like a daily basis with this, and it's really hard to deal with sometimes, and I have to try to maintain my filter and stay godly, as well as not put myself in jeopardy when I communicate with them, and it gets increasingly difficult and challenging. It's also taught me some things. Like, I think what I've learned most of all over anything is just be aware of how you are around people. Be aware of the words you use, the things you say, the attitudes that you have around them, and how you treat people, because you never know what someone's going through, and you really could be the very last person that either keeps them alive, keeps them hopeful, the very last person that shows them what it means to have faith in God and have a relationship with God. And you could very well be that last person and that last ray of hope. And if you're disrespectful or rude to someone, or you're taking out your bad day on them, that really ruins them and their experience of life and the hope that they try to hold every day. Sorry, I'm awkwardly talking to my camera, and I just don't like people coming by and like watching me, because it's weird. I don't want them to think I'm like sitting here having conversation with nobody. But anyway, I know it shouldn't matter, and I shouldn't care what people think. This is my channel, and I can do what I want with it. But it's just really hard to deal with that, and I was bullied a lot in school, and so I have a hard time with adversary with other people and people making me feel inferior. And I know that they can only make me feel that way if I allow them to. And I know that they have no power over me. And I just keep trying to tell myself that I just have 2 more weeks. Just 2 more weeks, and then they're off to the races, and I don't have to really deal with them again unless they either come visit where I work, or they are at an event that is company-wide. Anyway, I'm learning that, what you say and how you act around people really affects them a lot and can affect them deeply. And my advice to anyone watching this that's in their early 20s and they're just starting out of college, and they might be going through training, or you might be starting a new job, be aware of that. And it's okay to be lost and confused about something and not understand. The important thing is you don't shut down, number one. And number two, the other important thing is you don't make foolish choices and say the wrong thing, or have a bad attitude, or treat someone with disrespect that's older than you. I just find it really sad that I now feel like I have to put in my training courses how important it is to be respectful to the instructor as well as one another. I never thought I would have to do that, but because the generations keep changing and the way people parent their kids is changing, I have to now. And I kind of analyze human behavior on a deeper level than my coworkers, and I notice body language. I notice people's actions. I notice the way someone behaves and when they're communicating with me. And sorry, I'm still watching for people walking by because I don't want to be watched. But anyway, I watch things on a deeper level, and I know when people are saying things that they shouldn't be saying. I know facial expressions. I know how people react, and I've already experienced with this particular group at work, people saying things that may not be very respectful about me to their coworker. And I know for a fact it has to do with me because of the way that they were reacting and the funny looks they had on their faces. And when I had to come up and answer a question for one of them that they had, it was written all over their face that things were being said that shouldn't have been said. And the person that was saying those things immediately clammed up when I came into earshot. So it's really hard to experience those things and to be disrespected in the way that I've been disrespected. And I tried to help that very same student today, and they said, oh yeah, because their pen died, and they said, oh, well, I'll take a pen as long as it's not the same one you handed out earlier, even though the pen I had was pretty decent. And I'm sorry, I don't have a fancy pen that's like fountain level or you know, mid-grade, whatever you want to call a pen. I'm not really sure what the expensive pens are called these days, but I'm sorry it wasn't to that level. You know, that's what I was thinking in my head. But really, my response simply was just beggars can't be choosers, and I left it at that. And it takes a lot to learn how to let things go that really bother you, especially for me. It's hard for me to do that, and it's my biggest challenge I think I have with myself, is not letting people steal my joy and steal who I am, and not letting what they say and how they think define me. Because I really deeply worry about that. And like, I don't personally like those surveys that we give people at the end of the quizzes that they take at the end of our classes. I don't like the surveys because I feel like sometimes people are on there and they're brutal with what they say and the things that they have problems with, and they are very hard on the trainer, not realizing that maybe the trainer is just simply trying to do their job and trying to work with what they were given. Because that's basically how I have been with some of my class content. It's just, I'm just working with what I have because we have a limited window to even look at it to make sure it's good, as well as, you know, I'm still learning and I'm only working with what the last trainer gave me. And, you know, it's hard for me to be successful when sometimes I'm not always given the right information, and it takes me a while to make sure that it is the right information. And as our calendars fill up, it gets harder and harder to find the time to make that stuff correct. And it's a continuous improvement process. And, you know, I just feel like the trainers or the trainees are a little bit too hard on the trainers, and they can be disrespectful. And today I was severely disrespected. They didn't even want to come back on time when we took breaks, and they would talk over me when I was trying to instruct. And again, my advice to you, if you're 20-something watching this and you're getting ready to start out your career, just be respectful. You can be honest, you can be blunt, but do it in a way that's tactful and respectful and helpful to the other person. And have that time with them. Sit down with the person you have a problem with and respectfully talk with them about it. Because they'll be open to your feedback and they'll help you, and they'll try to make your experience better if you calmly and respectfully come to them and you don't disrespect them or embarrass them in front of a group of people. That's not the way to get around in life. That is not the way to success. And please don't shut down if you don't get something. Make sure that you get with that person and you try to calmly and respectfully have those conversations. I don't really have much else to say. That's just my 2 cents for today. It's just been a really hard week, and if you are watching this and you know me and you've been praying, just keep, considering me in your prayers. I am being tested beyond belief right now, and I'm trying to maintain that. Sorry, I'm getting a temperature warning on my phone. But basically, just all I'm trying to say is just be kind and be respectful to one another. It's really not needed to be ugly and hateful. And another thing I want to mention is this may very well be my very last vlog in my car. Sadly, she's coming to the end of her life, and it's getting to the point where I'm paying more than a car payment to keep her fixed, and I love her to death. I bought her 10 years ago from college for a graduation present to myself, and I bought her brand new. She's paid for, and now it's time to start the car payment process all over again. I don't want to, but it's getting to the point where it's harder to keep her fixed than it is to just let her go and get something else. So this may very well be my very last video in my bug. We'll see, but for right now, this is all I have, and this is me signing off, and I hope everyone has a great week. Just keep praying for me if you pray, and I'll have more content soon. This is me signing off.